But I'll start with a story. So what we are seeing here is the community coming together, and thank you, Essa, for making it possible. It's not the first time that TheyDo is here and that we're part of it, but it's the first time for me, seeing you being here in Oslo. And what I've heard Siv and Essa and everyone when I was talking to in the break share, we are all on this journey of uncovering what this means for our business. So I want to chime in and tell you a little bit of a story while they fix the presentation, and then go in. So I am running up the stairs, about to hit big red button. I'm a designer at that time, and I'm running up the stairs to see Onno, who's a lead front-end engineer of a big project we did. We had the Citizen M account. I mean, everyone probably knows Citizen M. The hotels have been in one, slept in one. So that was our account. And I'm running up the stairs, about to hit a big red button. My agency, where I worked, have been spending 6 months of creating their e-commerce platform, designing it. I was the lead designer on the project. I was super proud of what we'd done. We invented dark mode before it was fashionable and these things. And we were actually like about to launch this website. So I'm running up the stairs with this big red button, which was a fun thing to do in our agency, because everything we launched, we hit the button. And Onno, our lead engineer, was about to hit that button. And we're standing there. He hits the button. The website goes live. We go to the URL. We see beautiful solution. And this was before Shopify was a thing, right? It took like months of hard work, hundreds of thousands of dollars of investment to make something beautiful happen on Magento, which is like very old-fashioned kind of WordPress system that you use to build web shops back in the days. So it was hard work. And we launched the thing. And it was in the morning, so it was a fantastic day because we were celebrating and we were happy and it was on time. But no one bought stuff. And we're like, oh, okay, well, it's the first day and the marketing needs to warm up. But what we found over time, after weeks, after months, no one would buy. The fundamental flaw we did as an agency, and it was also the day I quit, was that we didn't talk to people. We didn't talk to users. There was no budget for it. And I was a young designer, and my design director said, oh, let's design the best thing that we could possibly do. I'm still proud of what we did. Beautiful layout, it was fantastic. But we never engaged with their customers. We never engaged with people traveling the world. Hey, how are you going to buy stuff from Citizen M? What did you buy? Did you ever buy something? And it turned out people weren't considering that brand to buy stuff from. So that was a big mess they made. And 6-7 months later, killed the website, killed the web shop. The project was dead. So made a commitment, we're never ever gonna do that again. So when I quit my job, we started to honing our craft and really build this journey-centric approach, human-centered design, design thinking. We brought research, we set up practices for all our clients and customers back then. That was my own agency. And when I was standing in a big room, big innovation room, one of our clients, it was pre-COVID, I'm standing in that room, and we have journeys on the wall. We have customers, we have engineers, we have designers, we have everyone who was collaborating on that project. 5 minutes before the executive team was about to come in, I start sweating. And I'm like, oh, I think we messed up. And I look at Martin, I mean, that's one of my co-founders. Some of you may have seen Martin. I look at Martin, and he knows it as well. We have failed again. And what happened was when the executive team walked into that room, we took them through our project. We showed them all the hard work the team had done. We went through 4 different markets for that company. We did months of research. We brought all the data together. And in that room, the executive team, they approved the budget because we found that single opportunity that would change their business. And they approved the budget to go build. But when we were back in the office the next day, the room was clean. There was another group of business people with some jackets sitting there having a meeting. And everyone was back to their own desks. Everyone was chasing their own KPIs again. And we asked, like, what is going on with the project? Yeah, it's going to be built someday. We put it on the roadmap. It's there. We're going to do it. So we failed again. And what that was actually realizing that yes, the journey is the most powerful business tool there is. We can bring teams, customers, we can bring executives all together. But we've been approaching this problem wrong all the time. So the story of becoming, not being customer-centric, to figuring out what a journey actually can do for a business, bringing everyone together and seeing things from the same side, giving them that context, is what led us to say, hey, we're not doing these companies a good service if we're going to continue down this path. We have to change the way we're thinking about journeys in general. So that led us to start TheyDo. And today, this is the talk of the title of the talk. It's how we make journeys the most powerful business tool, or actually why. And I think we're all in on this secret already. So let me tell you about the how, because I think that is more important. And that is the change that we're about to make. And this is the story of us becoming journey-centric in our businesses. It's not about having better customer journeys and visualizing them. It's about changing the way we operate. It's about changing the way how we prioritize. It's about changing the way how we actually think about business. Because I think Ivan is the only person in the world that is aware that when he takes a train that he's part of a customer journey. Everyone else just wants to buy something, complete a goal, do a task, make progress in their life, make their family happy, get the next business goal done. So journeys happen, whether we design them or not. And that was the insight I had also in that room with all these executives walking all around, seeing the data that we had. Journeys are a business tool. They are about the customer, but in essence, they are a business tool. So why is that important? Because 60% of all our customer-centric, all our customer experience initiatives fail today. This is a stat that I love to bring up because it's true. And why is it? Because we are unable to link all the work that we're doing to positive business outcomes. Because we start from the customer journey, because we start from the customer. There's nothing wrong with that. But we also should ask, what does the business care about? Example, I was doing some research before coming to Telenor. This is not Telenor, but could be Telenor. So I was doing ChatGPT, and I was asking, like, hey, tell me about Telenor. What's going on in their business? What's the biggest thing they write in their annual statement about churn? So apparently Denmark is not doing well, and we might need to focus on that. And these questions on like, okay, churn is up. We have dashboards that can completely show and segment and slice and dice all that churn data up for us to really understand like where is the churn the biggest. And it turns out it's in Denmark. These questions are true for executives in your businesses every day. I mean, I'm a CEO. Why is our net new sales not going faster? Why is our net revenue retention not going faster? Like, why does this customer churn? Like all these why questions are there when we see the data. So who has the answers? Well, we do, but we need to find a connection. So when we take this example and we ask this is typically what happens. We're very customer-centric, right? That's what the business says. But take any business problem, and then the only centricity you get is that we're running around in circles. Everyone is chasing their own dashboards, their own KPIs, their own tools, their own Miro boards, PowerPoints, research docs, and we all have different answers to why churn in Denmark is up. I was chatting with another telco, big one. You'll know the name if I tell you, but I can't. And they also have a churn problem. I mean, every telco has a churn problem, or churn opportunity, if you will. And I asked, like, what have you done about it in the last 12 months? And they said, yeah, we're working on network quality, we're improving the way people have 5G coverage, blah, blah, blah. Like, no. What initiatives have you executed together or different teams to improve churn? Well, guess what? Nothing. Why? Well, we know a lot, and we know where the pain points are. We know all these different things we want to do, but we can't get anything prioritized. We just can't. And then, therefore, nothing happens, because we're running around in circles. And in TheyDo, we call this the 88 principle. 80% of business leaders say we're customer-centric. But when you go to your customers, only 8% agree. And this is the biggest problem in our companies today. We're thinking we're customer-centric because everyone has an emphasis on the journey. Everyone has an emphasis on the customer. Everyone is focused on the customer in their own silo. And nothing is connected. And to give a little bit more of a visual on why that is, I think this is it. Like if you look at the black line, this is like the 88 line, right? So practitioners, CX people, service designers, we have a very good understanding of very detailed views of the customer journey, user flows, like we got it mapped out. But when you ask, like, what do we know about the journey, the higher up in an organization you go, the more abstract it gets. Leadership cares about the customer lifecycle, the consumer lifecycle. And executives, they care about different stages where their bonuses are tied to. Maybe the purchase journey, maybe onboarding, maybe there are different value streams that people are attached to. And that is what they call the journey. And then we go to our teams and say, like, what about the customer journey? And they go very granular and they say, like, hey, customers in Denmark, when they're renewing their mobile subscription, coming off from an iPhone and want to switch to an Android device, struggle with this thing. Okay, so bringing that back up is really, really hard. And if we do not create a system of alignment, we're unable to prioritize. So knowing this will help put everything in context. And I think that is what we are all gathering here for. And what is so excited about this, because we have found that language, and it happens through journeys. But you have to be very intentional about which journeys are where. And I think if you break it down, this is a little bit more of a visual representation, what we just saw. Okay, the business cares about the consumer lifecycle. Let's keep it simple. A bunch of stages. What are the key metrics that are influencing where we are heading as a business? Churn might be one. Problems with accounts receivable might be another. Our brand awareness might be another. That's on the very highest level. But when we start to break it down and look at, okay, what is the experience of renewing in general for all our customers? Then we start to hone in, like one level down in the hierarchy. And then we go even further down and we ask, like, okay, in Germany or in Denmark, what are people experiencing when they're renewing from an iPhone going to an Android phone? Or even more granular. But if you're intentional about this, you can build up a simple data model that has data come up from the bottom, and you're actually enabling your organization to use what you already know, to bring all your feedback systems, your VOC data, using AI or not, if your company allows, to actually mine for all those insights you already have captured, and to actually bring them together in those journeys to give an accurate picture, one abstraction level up. And maybe using those opportunities as I was talking about, bring them one level up. But then it gets interesting, because ultimately what you need to do is tie it to decision making. And that flows top down. In most corporates, that's the reality. Churn is our problem. We need to impact churn. Company-wide priority. Well, you don't want to be running around in circles. You actually want to impact churn because it's good for the customer. Like if they are calling people, they want to have great internet at home, they want to FaceTime their loved ones. You're making that possible if you're a telco. No question about it. But will they choose Telenor or will they choose someone else? That is the question. So the journey happens. And if you can be intentional about it, you can start to impact churn. But you can also make your customer's life really, really pleasant, really easy, convenient, or trustworthy, if you're going to be a trustworthy brand. So decision-making goes top-down, and data flows bottom-up. And it's the journey that brings that into context. And that is, I think, the simplest way to put it for the business, if we think about it. So now we can start breaking it down, because we have our insights, right? Why is churn up in Denmark? We have our metric, which is churn. And we, as practitioners, know, oh, it's not just a renewing journey. Churn happens way before, and it happens in other different parts of the business, way before people actually churn. They're fed up with our service or they had a bad experience, which likely impacts churn already. And we have a set of opportunities to address it. And that is the crux. You can do it on a very specific journey level. You can build that up in your data model, which makes it really simple for the business to follow. So enough of the theory, practical example. Big bank, one of the largest banking customers that we have, they were having a big cost problem. Their cost of service was skyrocketing. So every year they have 5 million credit card users having issues. Small issues, big questions. And every month they're having about 43,000 calls about the issues people have. Which you can imagine, probably same at Telenor, it's a big cost. So how can we reduce that? That was the big question they asked. And what the team has done is they were able, from a specific set of journeys, understand in that business context, like, okay, cost is going up, what are we doing about it? What are then the opportunities in those journeys we need to address? And they were able to prioritize a few, implement solutions, and cut that volume by 7,000 calls a month, which is 1.8 million in cost savings by improving the customer experience. They didn't deliver a new product, they didn't create new things. They were just very, very intentional about, okay, cost is a problem. Where in the journey can we find opportunities based on our insights that are actually impacting why people are calling us? And that is the way we are here to actually make impact on our business, to bring our data closer to what the business cares about is actually helping the customer. I mean, no one wants to call your bank because you have an issue with your credit card. You just want to pay for the thing that you are buying, and no questions asked. So we're making our customers' lives better while improving the business. And I think that is the fundamental link that we're trying to achieve with journey management. And my point is, it starts with the business. So here's how I'm thinking about journey management as what we're doing. Asa also has a nice slide like, it's not mapping. And I think we're past that stage. I don't need to explain that. But journey management, when you think about it, is an approach to business decision-making. It's bringing qualitative, quantitative data together in a specific context so you can prioritize the right initiatives. That's it. So journey management is actually, when you think about it, the only thing a business needs to make really good decisions, which is, at scale, a very hard problem to solve. And another way to think about it, to make it also a little bit more easy, is just we're bringing the numbers and the emotions together. It's to know what and to know why. And ultimately, obviously, to know who is working on what. But bringing these two things together is what we are all passionately believe in. It is about customer emotion, it is about their experience, but it's also about the numbers. And we should not shy away from that. It's the left brain and the right brain. It's the yin and the yang. It's the hard and the soft. We need both to be connected. And our business dashboards are doing the numbers really well. And we typically do the emotions really well. But now we have a vehicle to bring all of that together. So to really know what and why is what journey management is actually solving. So the only question you can ask your teams is, do your teams use the journey as the most powerful tool there is? So that is a nice prompt to you. And thank you, Asa, for having me on stage.
Thank you, Jochem. Do you have any questions from the audience? It takes always like 30 seconds before we have the first brave one.
To get started, what is the business metric?
Who's the one who is brave enough? Gunnar, do you have any questions? I don't know anybody so by name, so I just like this. Well, hey, well, if I ask questions, so like you've been like doing this for now like few years, and you've seen the development. Like, how do you see that? There was an earlier question that, like, how do you see the kind of like the where are we at the moment? How is the adoption going globally speaking?
Yeah, so globally speaking, can say like where people are on the map. Like yes, in the Nordics, we are seeing like a huge surge of companies adopting, thinking about it, setting up these practices. there's a difference between how people are practicing it in Europe versus in US. And that is also great learning. Here, customer experience is typically already a holistic function in a company. They care about the end-to-end experience, they are tasked with that, they are looking at the data, but still it's a silo, right? In US, CX originated from like an add-on on service, right? So it was like optimize the customer service and then that's the customer experience. But in US, they're very, very focused on results. So that is where we're seeing traction in these companies where what I just shared is like, okay, what does the business care about and how do we actually layer our journeys on top of that? And once that is established in the company, like it blows up. And here, sometimes we have the notion of like, no, we need to figure out all the journeys. We need to be complete. We need to have a complete understanding. So that is the biggest difference I'm seeing. But what I see is similar is that for the first time, we're able to bring these three things together, right? Qualitative data, quantitative data, and the initiatives that your teams are working on that typically live in 3 different places and 20 different tools. Yeah. And all of a sudden we can do it in one place. And that wasn't possible a few years ago. So that is the big change that we're now seeing. Yeah, it's really interesting. We had this same discussion yesterday over the dinner that like the difference between the North America and the Europe. We can learn from each other, right? America's like results oriented. They're bigger, they're like way larger initiatives. They have just more customers in general for all their different products and services. But here we're just better at understanding people. And both of Northern Europe and US are very service oriented, very emotion oriented. So that is a good balance. Yep. Where we're not seeing it picked up, like I hope I'm not offending anyone in this, Southern Europe. So Spain, Portugal, like where we are seeing there's a very hierarchical or a very clear hierarchy in a company who decides what is going to be worked on. It's hard to bring a fresh perspective from your journeys and say, look, we're actually seeing what customers need is this, but you're saying we need to do that. And well, that clashes a bit. So we're okay for now to focus on the northern side of the hemisphere, but at some point we need to go down. Yeah, good. I have one more question. Well, now Gunnar has a question. Sorry about the earlier.
Thank you for the presentation. I was thinking about your customers' journeys are essentially the transformation processes that I think a lot of our companies or organizations are trying to go through. So it's really interesting to see sort of your understanding of what are the pain points or the biggest roadblocks in that process of becoming a journey management driven organization?
It's a big question. I'll try to make it simple. So one is that when we started to do a software solution, right, on top of where we were as a strategic consulting firm, is that we tried to do it end to end. Like, yes, your whole company is really like journeys. And you're like, no. The thing that works well is to take some scope inside a business that is clear. There is, like I said, there's a clear definition of what is wrong and how to solve it. That is the place to start. And I think finding that takes a little bit of time, because of course, like everyone wants more revenue, everyone wants to have lower costs, like there's no problem. But like specifying what that is for a business means finding the right persons in your company to attach this to. Like what is burning right now? Like lowering costs is a problem we always work on to be more efficient. But if churn is that big thing that everyone should be focusing on, it's like who's responsible for that? And what can we do for her to impact? And that is the thing that is setting our customers up for success. We typically engage with service designers, with customer experience people, but they have managers and they have VPs that care about this, and we help them to get there. Say, look, here's how you build a little data model, here's how you can start impacting that. And I think that is the biggest blocker that we saw and that we see still, but this is the way to overcome that. And the other thing is that it just doesn't work to only share about the big vision for this and be evangelist. You have to make it practical, which is what we try to do. Yep. Great. Let's give it a round of applause to Jochem. Thank you.